All right, peace to the family. Soul Conscious TV. Got my brother King Normal with me. What's happening, bro? What you got today?
Let's go in on a part 2. Religion is a Business part 2. The Pope and the Black Madonna. Let's get it started with Killer Mike and Joe Rogan.
So for white people who don't know, white Jesus in the black community is a mythical creature that has enormous power, right? It's insane for anyone to believe in a deity that doesn't look like them, right? So, but in the black community, we're just in love with Renaissance paintings, and Jesus is white as fuck, all right? So we have the same infatuation that your weird hippie aunt has with Indian men with long beards and their mysticism. We have that with white Jesus. So that you've just helped me understand. Wow. Because I've always wondered, like, what the fuck is it up with white people and East Indian people? Like, because Vikram, who directed Trigger Warning, also has a documentary where he creates a fake religion and convinces, you know, white middle class people to follow him.
That is a crazy one, the white Jesus one, right?
White Jesus is a motherfucker, bruh. Like, hey man, I'm gonna get me a shirt that says white people won, stay woke. And what I mean by that is Western civilization, this is the latest phase. Like, people have to understand there have been many empires and civilizations. There was a time where Mali in Africa and Kemet in Africa were the biggest civilizations and colonizers on earth. Later Persia, biggest, like you've had systems, and right now the West has just for the last 1,000 years or so has been kicking and dominating ass. A lot of what we see on the news between the West and what we call the Middle East now, what was once Western Persia, Western Asia, this is thousands of years of war. You know, you're hearing Islam versus Christianity, but it's really two ideologies that have been fighting for thousands of years over how the globe should be governed. So with that shit, man, it's like there's no stopping this shit. But white Jesus springs out of that and kind of goes everywhere and colonizes everything. So, you know, the church pops up with candy for kids, Bibles for you, and by the way, we're going to be gone a while, but we're going to leave this guy here on the wall so you know what the ideal, what God's son looked like. So God's son looks like a Doobie Brother, so does God. God looks like Jim Morrison.
Jim Morrison with a full beard.
Yeah, straight the fuck. You know?
Wow. Yeah, it's
when really Jesus was probably a tan guy with dark hair and curly hair, and you know, and brown eyes that was saying shit that the government and the church didn't like, so they knocked him the fuck off. I don't believe, just for the record, I don't believe in the big three, the Abrahamic religions. I'm not into them. But the books I've read, and they're amazing graphic novels. I kind of read them like a graphic novel of sorts, right? And when you look at the people who Christ died with, right, he was up there with thieves. The last person he saved before he got out of here was a thief. Was a confessed thief, was dying right next to him, and he was like, you know, we gonna go on this together. That's an amazing thing. So as you're serving your Savior or your Messiah, you need to be thinking about who he spent his time with.
Let's keep it moving. Now let's talk about Creflo Steal Yo Dollar.
New tonight, we're learning more about an upstate pastor charged with criminal sexual conduct with a minor. Our cameras were rolling as Philip Buxton was taken to jail this afternoon.
Well, Don, at this point, we don't need to say allegedly or accused. We're hearing from the attorney who represents that associate pastor this afternoon, and he says his client is admitting to taking the money, and now his client wants forgiveness from the church and the community.
Every Sunday, the Reverend Creflo Dollar packs him in under the World Dome, his 8,500-seat church outside Atlanta. The pews are filled, and so are the donation plates.
The Word of God is the gateway to the world of wealth.
Whenever I put money in the collection plate, I stand up and hold the money up so the hoes could see. This is bait. Bitch, I'm putting this 50 in here so them hoes know I got 50 to give. Everything is corrupt, Bobby. I mean, like, what? Listen.
But if we start paying black preachers around one, the church will close. No many of them coming to do volunteer work. It's a business. It's a salary people get out of it, whether it's Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, or what. Christianity and religion as we know it is a business. Biggest business is bigger than AT&T. You get all kinds of break, tax breaks, and all kinds of privileges when you're in business. And salaries paid. You think the Pope would be there if he didn't get a big salary? He didn't get a big salary of all. Do you think, no, let's face it, how many
The man whose last name literally means money in the United States often suggests to his 30,000 parishioners the more they give, the more God will deliver financial blessings to them.
Which is basically the Christian gospel turned on its head, turned upside down. And it's to honor Creflo Dollar and not so much about honoring God.
Any religion that doesn't require discipline is some sucker shit. I mean, like, if you can just go to church and fuck up forever and just say, forgive me for my sins, that's the game, homie. That's that shit I'm out here running. You know what I'm saying? That's the game. I'm sorry if somebody might get mad out here. My mama don't like when I talk like that because, you know, she's a victim of the game. She's been going to church as long as I've known her. And some of the worst people I know hang out at her church. You know, I had to get them away from her. My mother the type drop people off, stuff like that. I mean, like, who is this fool over here? You know what I'm saying? And it'd be a lady that'd be older than me, of course, but I know the game.
Right.
What they over here for? Why they be over here all the time? But she in between houses and all that. I'm like, you done let another stray of the church.
A straight Christian.
And all that revenue is tax exempt, with little or no way to know how much he has or how he spends it.
What that means, it sounds technical, but what that means is that the church, he doesn't have to give financial information to anybody, and so therefore he doesn't.
But there are ways to get a glimpse of some of that wealth. From where else? The heavens. This is a satellite view of Dollar's Georgia home, worth more than $2.3 million. These New York records show Dollar and his wife sold their Manhattan condo for $3.75 million. And that's not all.
Bentleys, Rolls Royces, corporate jets, $23,000 commodes, corporate jets, $23,000 commodes.
Okay, now let's get into basically when the British missionaries came into Africa and started getting like the Igbo tribe and whatnot. And basically when they made them learn Christianity, they always made them kneel or sit down on the ground. So remember, when they came into Africa, we had all the gold, we had all the land, and they had all the Bibles. They taught us how to pray. Now they got all the gold, all the land, and we got all the Bibles and the Qurans, and we still broke as fuck and ain't got nothing. Am I lying? We spend $1 trillion a year and don't own a goddamn thing. We don't shop with each other, and we're lucky if the black dollar circulates at least 3 times. And as you can see, it goes in goddamn priests doing what they've always done, indoctrinating us and raping them little bitty boys, and they still do it to this day. You know, none of them get locked up because it's a business. How to Make a Negro Christian. This is a book written during the slavery period in America by Reverend Dr. Charles McCulloch Jones. He was a major slave owner that owned 3 plantations. He developed a system to make slaves more submissive and easier to control by converting them to Christianity. Over time, his methods proved highly successful and became standard operating procedures for most slave owners. Now, do you see the power you get when you worship the black woman? Because the Vatican is in charge of all religions. They're the ones that sign all of your religious texts and your religious literature. So, you know the Vatican is the top of the top, you know what I mean? And you see what the popes worship. They give us white Jesus while they worship the black Madonna and child, or basically the black woman. And you see their power position and our power position. So when I go around preaching or teaching that the black woman is God, it's for a reason. They have been recognizing, honoring, and worshiping the black melanated carbon-based woman as God since the beginning of their existence. Why is it so hard to believe that the black melanin carbon-based man to acknowledge this truth? And here you have a pic of the German Pope Benedict the 16th with an Italian by way of Argentina. Pope Francis I prayed to the Black Madonna in the Vatican Chapel, 2013. So you see what they do. Every day they go downstairs in the basement of the Vatican and they kneel before and cry before this statue right here, this statuette. Black Madonna and child. And it's quite simple. The Black Madonna child is stemmed from Isis and Horus, or Aset and Heru. Zoom in a little bit on this one. While we worship them, they are worshiping us. You see how they run game? One man's God is another man's devil. They got you worshiping White Mary while they are worshiping the melanated goddess. And they run the world. The only thing we run is our mouth. Can they see it?
Yeah.
Okay, well this is the end of part 2. Coming back with the part 3, so stay tuned. And make sure you tap like, please subscribe and share this video. And stay tuned for more to come. And always, always, always remember to tap for the notification bell, so that way you can get updates. Peace, family.